Hey there, everyone. We have to take a look at Soundhound and see what's going on after that rampant pop that we got a few days ago, followed by the subsequent sell. We're going to take a look at the technicals on that. I'm also going to take a zoomed out perspective, not only on the monthly chart and then work our way back to the daily on Soundhound, but I also want to talk about two stocks that are my best stocks to buy now for Q3 2025 that had just a massive run so far and are experiencing just a little bit of softness going into the end of this past trading week. What exactly can we look forward to? We're going to do the same thing. We're giving the Soundhound treatment that will start at the monthly chart and then work our way back to the daily to see what kind of story we're seeing from a longer term perspective and then bring it back to a more near term perspective. And maybe we can distill some sort of plan out of that. So if you guys would like to see my trades on this stuff, other technicals, other stocks that I'm following with or interacting with monetarily, so buys, sells, me, the other panel experts are already waiting over at the Discord. The link's in the description. We are there to support you in your journey towards financial freedom and building alpha in your portfolio. Click the link, sign up using code word doctor for the earner tier so you get access to everything. All right, guys, into the charts on this thing. So we're going to kick things off with my friend Teladoc. We'll save Soundhound for last. I know it's the most exciting. You guys are welcome to skip ahead if you want to. But Teladoc in the telehealth space, this is one that if I reset the chart view and look at this, you can see that we were doing all right up until the pandemic, and then we're doing amazing up until about $300 per share. And then I think that we got unfairly beaten down. And I think that's also a similar story with Moderna, that it's been unfairly beaten down over time after having such a rampant rise during the pandemic. Telehealth, I think in our current environment that we find ourselves, especially monetarily, I think from a fundamental standpoint, telehealth stands to really benefit over the next several years. And I think that Teladoc could be one of those major players that's in that. And we had a recent volume spike in June. We'll see what July looks like as it shapes up for us. But let's talk about this from a technicals perspective, from the moving averages, from the RSI. What can we tell from this? Well, when we look, you can see that we actually, well, let's look back over here at first. You can see that trading that we get above this green 5-period EMA that we're looking at right here, that we, as soon as we get above it, that we sell back down below it, and every time there's another time, now finally we got it again. So far in July, we are sitting on top of that 5 EMA. So if we're talking about this from a technical perspective, to me, it looks like holding the 5 EMA as support for us once we get above it, once we break that resistance, is the first key sign that we're looking at from a monthly perspective that we could continue the climb from here. This is July's candle. July is still ongoing. We have a ton of time left. We still have, well, about half of July to go once we get back to the trading week on Monday. So we need to watch and see that that support holds right now as I record this video. About $8.27 is where we find that. That'll move a little bit depending on how this candle moves. The other four values are already set in stone. The 5-period close is what sets this for the EMA. So we'll see how this more near-term price action affects the exponential moving average. The next big thing after that is being able to solidly overtake the 13-period EMA that's on here. Now let's drop back to the weekly perspective on this. We have the RSI, which I actually, on the monthly basis, I should point out for this, that on a monthly basis, the RSI, that's not the RSI, it's the volume, is down here, but I got to stretch volume out. I just need to really stretch this out so you guys can see this purple line, that we are seeing early signs that this thing's starting to crawl out of the gutter. We really need this thing to pop up solidly up into the high 30s to low 40s to see that we have a rising RSI, which even though it's still in the bearish territory, that could be where you find that wild change from bearish to bullish as we cross over 50 on a monthly basis. And if you go and look at BBAI's monthly RSI, and back when I was talking about it, you can see what that looks like, that evolution when you start to get those longer term momentum moves going, when you have the monthly pushed by the weekly, pushed by the daily, and they all start working together. You get those short-term drawdowns with the wild rips to the upside, the much more sustained gains. So that's what I'm watching for Teladoc. It's still a little bit early on this one. All right, let's shrink this back down and let's get back to those charts. I want to get back into the weekly chart on this. So when we drop back down to the weekly chart, the RSI has crossed over 50. It's kind of going sideways on this. So we moved up above 50 and then had two hesitations. This could be a big week for us. You guys can see the high wicks that we're getting on the weekly chart, but some important things that we see. If we can overcome this selling pressure that we keep on getting right around $9 per share. Now, mind you, if I put up the SMAs along with the EMAs, you can see that we get rejected off of this 50 simple moving average right now. We tried it 1, 2, 3 times. could signal a further sell. Well, how do we avoid that? One of the ways that we avoid that is by holding on to 5 and 13 EMA support. The 5 up over the 13 is a bullish sign. The RSI also looking bullish after a bit of a rise here. It does have to get solidly over $9 per share. As a matter of fact, over 10 would be even better. You can see 957 hanging out here from the 50 EMA. That's going to be a very solid resistance for us. Eventually, we want to see this 5 cross over the 50, and then even bigger than that is the 13 over the 50. So from this weekly chart that we're looking at, the first thing we got to do is overcome this selling pressure that you see, like I said, right around that $9 mark. So we need to sit on top of the 5-month, and we need to overcome the selling pressure that happens right around $9. If we're able to get up above that, and by the way, looking just a little bit left, you can see the support that we got before and the sort of resistance that is turning into. Getting up above that chop is going to allow us some more wild outperformance than we've already seen recently with this breakout going back to the week of June 23rd. Dropping back to a daily perspective on this one, where do we find ourselves? Well, we see this rejection that we got off the 200 EMA. And if we put up the SMAs just for a moment, you can see this very flat 200 period simple moving average. That is very solid resistance. You can see the sell that we got after we got that first actual rejection. So we sort of tried a couple days ago. We sort of tried again on Wednesday. Thursday was that rejection sell off. Now it's up to the other faster moving averages to really tell that story. You can see the white 100 period coming down here, a positive slope on that would really help us out. We do want to watch for 20-day support, as that's the blue line here, as that could be a reversion to the mean before the next rally that we see. So Teladoc down a little bit. I don't know that it's out yet. We're going to have to watch and see. Better than that are the EMAs. If we hold on to the 13 EMA, it's a very good sign. You can see the support that we got off of that on Friday, that we came down to a low and then bounced a little bit. What we don't want to see, and that would be an early sign that we're going to sell some more, is if this 5 period curls down and actually crosses over the 13. That is the first bearish sign that we get in near term from the daily chart, which could mean maybe it's not time yet, and then we watch the weekly RSI start to fall away. So we do still have the challenges. We still are overall in bearish territory for Teladoc, but what we're looking for here is a stock that can reverse things, and I think that the technicals are there to suggest that it just might happen, and the fundamentals are suggesting that it might just be time for telehealth to really start stepping into the spotlight from a perspective of people just needing a break on costs for healthcare. And I can tell you through my own employer, when I use Teladoc, I can actually call them up and not pay any fees. I pay $150 about when I go to the doctor's office unless I hit my deductible, versus $0 when I call through Teladoc, and I can get the prescription done either way for a lot of regular illnesses and ailments. And I really think that that is a very common story that we're going to hear more and more of over time, with more healthcare providers pushing for Teladoc as well, because I think this is good for the goose, good for the gander situation, where it's good for the hospitals and doctors, that it's good for the consumers, that it's good for the insurance companies. I think those wins all around. If it gets funneled into Teladoc, then that could be very, very good things and very strong price action. I think it's at least worth a little bit of risk capital from my own portfolio to go towards this. And I've already shared those moves over at the Discord. So we do want to watch these exponential moving averages. We do not want to see the green cross down over the yellow. That would be a bearish crossover. We want bullish crossovers. We already have, and just so you know what bullish crossovers look like, we already have that here with the 5 and the 13 crossing over the 50. And here's what the price action looked like as a result of that. 5 crossing the 50s right here, and we just had rip after that. Same thing for the 13 crossing. We got the rip and then another pop after that, which took us from about $8 and took us almost up to $9, which is pretty darn significant. That's like 11 to 12-ish% from where we were at when we got that crossover, and then we went even higher after that one. So very promising. We got to keep our fingers crossed that the technicals can hold out, because timing is everything when it comes to this. It's an incredibly difficult to time the market. Moving over to Moderna, MRNA, the 1 month chart getting beat up over time. Every candle 1 month here. Look at this structure that we have. This is astounding to me. We couldn't even touch the 5 period EMA on here. I can't even say it. I can't even get the words out of my mouth. Couldn't even touch the 5 EMA until this month, until July 1st came around, and now we're finally, for the first time all the way going back to July of last year, so 12 whole months later, we finally have so far a closing value up above the 5. We need to hold on to that. So far, $31.91, so just south of $32 is where we find that. We need to close July up above the 5 EMA from a monthly basis for the RSI. Let me move this up here for you. Now, mind you, we have volume movements in this as well. Look at that volume bomb that we got going back to May. That was the first sign a first very early sign of a reversal, and then moving sideways a very narrow, and now we're trading up above that. That's a good thing from the candle formations. The RSI down here is also trying to move up, just starting to inflect up. We want to watch it cross this yellow moving average that we have on here. This is a 14 period moving average for the RSI. Crossing up above that is another good sign for bullishness, but we don't quite have a confirmed rise yet on a monthly basis, just to be clear. But if we do get that confirmed rise, that could be early sign that we're going to be going bullish for longer on a daily and weekly basis. We are overall in bearish territory on this, so moving into an incredibly bullish place would have to take some movement above some moving averages like the 200-day EMA, SMA. That would really help us out. In the meantime, this could just be a short-term pop, and we need to be aware of that. Dropping down to the weekly, we have an RSI of 49.80. This thing, even though it's already made an incredible move, which doesn't look like it from the candles here, but making a move all the way down from about 23 up to 33, so that $10 move is like a 40% climb, over 40% as a matter of fact, to get from where it was at the bottom to where it is now. And it could still be early for Moderna. I think that this could still move up to $45 to $60 for us throughout Q3, maybe into the end of Q4 as we come to a close for 2025, assuming that the momentum can stay with it. In the weekly chart, which has a very definite rise and a recent pop up till almost crossing 50, now could be that time that Moderna really starts to make that rapid climb and puts in another $12 move on us and makes that next 40% climb from where we're at now, potentially up to near doubling, up to that $60 mark. We have to watch and see, and this once again could be a longer term fundamental play. I will say on the fundamental side of things, they have a lot of products that they're developing in their pipeline, and they have a very promising technology, but like the timing is like late 2025, 2026, 2027, like everything's horizon. Everything is, maybe they will. This is what we're working on, but there's no results yet. If you watch my video, and if you haven't watched my BBAI video from this morning, you should. Just click on my channel title, tap on videos, and then just look at the one that says it's over, and then there's a big asteroid and all that kind of stuff on the thumbnail, and it says BBAI stock disaster. Go and watch that one because that is really going to help you out to see, especially at the end of the video, what promise and potential looks like versus results. And I think that's where we're at for Moderna right now. They have some results, but the rest of it is all promise and potential. And this thing got slaughtered over time. And I think it's actually starting to finish its consolidation. And now we're starting to get that reversal back upwards. So from Moderna, that's why this is one of my best stocks to buy for a Q3 2025. And from the weekly chart, we got the moving averages in the right spot. We got the RSI pretty much in the right spot. We got the candle formation pretty much in the right spot. We get the volumes pushing along with us as well. There's a lot of confluence happening with Moderna. If we drop down to a daily basis, you can see, now it wasn't the roughest day on Friday. It was much rougher for Soundhound. It was much rougher for Teladoc. This one down less than 2%. The other two down about over 5%, between 5 and 6% for Soundhound and Teladoc. So this one not so bad, and we have perfect green over yellow over red. So that's a bullish crossover back here with those. And now we have the stack we're looking for. The 200 EMA is not all the way up until $42, and the SMA is way up here at 37. We'll probably smack 37. That's my guess from here, which is still pretty darn bullish. That's like another 10% climb, over 10% from where it's at right now. So 11, 12% we'll say. To get up there to that 200-day, we do have to push through it. Right now, a little bit overbought. We'll see what we get. I think that there's enough movement in the background that this thing's going to push through throughout Q3 and, like I said, into Q4 of 2025. We'll have to watch and see. And by the way, I did stack this up on purpose, that Teladoc was not so far along chart-wise and also company-wise. And then for Moderna, that's a little bit farther along company-wise and a little bit farther along chart-wise. Now, mind you, Soundhound has a much bigger promise to fulfill on the AI space that could be much more rampant in what it produces, and it doesn't have the same limitations of like FDA, like governmental agency approvals and stuff like that. But in any case, so I'm going to get into Soundhound, but by the way, guys, my transactions I made on Soundhound, Moderna, Teladoc, you could see all those and more over at the Discord. Me, the other panel experts, StockMo, live trading is over there. The expert channels are over there, our buys, sells, news, ideas, the thousands of community members as well. There's just a ton of support waiting for you. Code word doctor is going to get you 50% off your first month sign up, and then just try it out. See what you think. Less than $1 a day for some serious potential that could be coming your way. And the community themselves, even they talk about what they're watching, what they're excited about, and the ideas just keep flowing, and you get to see what everybody's doing with everything. And even if you do feel a little bit overwhelmed, you can still ask, you can talk, you can go to the Ask the Expert channel, find out even more from us what you want. And if you guys don't know how to do technical analysis but you want to, and if you don't know how to trade using those technicals but you want to, and you don't know about options, which by the way I use all the time, it's the main way that I transact when it comes to trading. If you want to know about options, how you can buy options, sell options, the risks that are involved, the sort of promise that can get the rewards that are outsized rewards that can go along with it, there's coursework through Stockmo Academy. The link is down in the description. Code word doctor, same as for the Discord. Code word doctor is going to save you a ton on those courses. It is a one-time fee, lifetime access. Code word doctor saves you, like I said, it's massive. I don't know the exact number on it, but just click on the link, put in code word doctor at checkout, see what you think before you even hit the checkout button, and you'll see the sort of discount. Bundling the courses is going to save you even more, and they are a match made in heaven, much like the bundling of the courses, the discount that you get with that, you get a deeper discount when you use code word doctor as well. So guys, I'm going to get into Soundhound's chart. Let's do it. So moving over to Soundhound here, this one had a rampant rise. You won't see too much of it from the monthly chart. It looks like it was back here in December. However, we've had another one here in July. Not quite as rampant yet, but we've also had some early escalated volumes here in July. And that's why I'm talking about it right now. Now you can see the selling pressure that we're getting here as we near that $12 to $13 mark. And there's some technical reasons why that does happen. Some good things that we see on this monthly chart back. Here's the ticker, by the way, and every candle's 1 month. That's what this means in the background here. We are above the 5 and the 13. That's a bullish setup already. That's beyond where Moderna and Teladoc are at, but it is fairly new for trading, so you don't get a 50 period on this yet. There's not that many candles. You don't get a 200 period on this either. The RSI is already at 57 and rising, so it's already in bullish territory on a monthly perspective. When we drop down to the week, we have once again a perfect bullish setup. 5 over 13 over 50. We already hit the crossover moment, and you can see the rise that happened with that bullish crossover. You can also see it happening back here as well with the bullish crossover happening with the 5 back over the 50 and the 24% pop that happened as a result. Check out the volume this past week versus the other volumes that came before it. So a perfect bullish stack with the moving averages, an RSI that's at 55, so perfectly ripe, above average volume. And when we drop down to a daily chart, yeah, we popped up on this. We actually had a really nice day where it popped about 12%. I covered it the night before. I said, this thing's about to move, and then it did. And then we softened a little bit. We filled the gap that was down here. And so that's actually not a bad thing. That's a very good thing, because what that does, it allows us to retest support. We found where the ceiling was. We were probably always going to peak out around 1341. And if I have my technicals here ready to go, I do. There they are. You can see the trend line resistance. You can also see the Fibonacci retracement resistances that we have up here. But now we're back down near 13 EMA support. We're also back down near trendline support, and then we're above the 50 and the 200. Once again, a perfect bullish stack on this with some massive volume movement. If we can break, I should say first, if we catch this support and we push back up again, we are going to retest resistance here. Getting on top of that could send us up to that $15 to $16 price range. As you see this stick that's going up here, that price movement that we're looking for points us all the way up to $15.94. I'll just call it $16 for all intents and purposes of this video. So guys, Teladoc, Moderna, Soundhound, I think every one of them has some serious promise and potential, and that's why I'm bringing them to you here, because I do think that they absolutely deserve to be on the best stocks to buy for Q3 2025. And I'm going to make other videos that cover some of the other ones that I've covered recently, just giving refresh technicals and some updates as do they still belong on the list? Are there still movements ready to go or not? And so just keep on coming back. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Come on over and join us over at the Discord. We'd love to have you over there. Allow us to support you and your journey towards financial freedom and building alpha in your portfolio. And then also, guys, don't forget about that coursework. If you want to know technicals, technical trading, options trading, they are rock solid. I have my doctorate in education with an emphasis in educational technology, my master's degree in instructional technology, 17 years of experience in the field, and putting curricula together is exactly the sort of thing that I do day in, day out, all lifelong, and I brought it over with my passion of finance. I vetted these courses. They are rock solid. Code word doctor, regardless of what you sign up for. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate the support. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you next video.